Good luck to everybody in Charleston. Of course, North Carolina is next, but the good news from this storm is Alabama's in the clear. The president's ongoing claim that Alabama was at risk from Hurricane Dorian. It wasn't. Maybe he got some bad info from somebody. Maybe he made a mistake. Maybe he was confused. We don't know. But he was wrong. And since, for days and days, he's been insisting with fake visual aids in hand that he was right. It all began on Sunday morning. President Trump tweeted just before 11 o'clock in the morning, in addition to Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, and Alabama will most likely be hit much harder than anticipated. That was not accurate. Yet he said it again later that day at the FEMA briefing from the White House.
And it may get a little piece of a great place. It's called Alabama, and Alabama could even be in for at least some very strong winds and something more than that.
Well, that was wrong. It gave birth to a lot of very funny memes, but the subject of the goof was too serious, so the National Weather Service swiftly corrected him, issuing a statement from the office in Birmingham. Alabama will not see any impacts from Dorian. We repeat, no impacts from Hurricane Dorian will be felt across Alabama. That could have been it, the end of it. Everybody makes mistakes. Instead, the next day, the president blamed the media for his own inaccurate warning and then started to rewrite history on the matter. Yesterday it continued, and he added doctored graphics to the narrative. The president on television took a National Hurricane Center forecast that somebody had doctored with a Sharpie or something. The forecast showed East Coast Dorian. The Sharpie's magical addition added the coast of Alabama on the Gulf Coast, completely Dorian free. Why would the President of the United States do this? He decries fake news that isn't and disseminates fake news that is. Think China pays the tariffs. The wall is going up. Historic inauguration crowds. Russia probe is a witch hunt. You need an ID to buy cereal. Noise from windmills causes cancer. It's endless. And now the Sharpie map that hurricanes Alabama. A reporter asked him about it.
That map that you showed today looked like it almost had like a Sharpie.
I don't know.
He doesn't know. But he won't let it go. Yesterday he brought out another map and a statement that reads, this was the originally projected path of the hurricane in its early stages. As you can see, almost all models predicted it would go through Florida and hitting Georgia and Alabama. I accept the fake news apologies. This is one where he can apologize and just move on. That map was from the day hurricane became a hurricane, 8 days ago, August the 28th. It was 4 days old. At the precise time, he said Alabama would likely be hit harder than anticipated. And by then, it was fake news defined on a very serious subject. Yet he forged on. This morning, another statement. What I said was accurate. It wasn't. And it isn't.
I mean, we are approaching a point at which Trump has dug in his heels so deep in this lie that Hurricane Dorian was set to hit Alabama that he might absolutely make it the cornerstone of his next State of the Union. To be clear, we are well into a week on this scandal, which only became a scandal in Trump's desperation to prove that he's right, while the rest of the world, science, facts, evidence, and even anchors on his favorite TV network are all wrong. And here's the crux of the argument. Trump tweeted on Sunday, September 1st, saying, in addition to Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, and Alabama will most likely be hit much harder than anticipated, looking like one of the largest hurricanes ever. But that was based on data from Thursday, August 29th. In other words, that data was already outdated. It was already false. Here's the actual hurricane model on Sunday when he posted that tweet. Its path was clearly veering right up the coast of Florida and nowhere near Alabama. He can't even say that he was right at one point because his information was incorrect from the very outset of his weather briefings. And so now he's still tweeting out old spaghetti models of the hurricane that were already wrong when he tried to make his initial argument, as if that's going to do the trick. And that's the danger of having a staff of loyalists that pretend to believe him if he says it's sunny outside while rain is pouring on their heads. Trump literally can't wrap his head around how people not on his payroll wouldn't just blindly believe whatever glaring BS he's trying to sell them. And this is all part of Trump's ongoing strategy to never admit fault, according to some archaic notion that it'll make him seem weak. And look, I'll hand it to him, I'm not sure weak is the first word that comes to mind. I mean, the first words are dangerously egomaniacal, deluded, and really, really dumb, but not weak, so nailed it? But what sets this scandal apart from the others is that it's so glaringly refutable. There is a map from the National Weather Service at the minute that he posted his tweet warning Alabama that they were about to be hit that shows as clear as day that Alabama was not in the path of the hurricane. That's it. So while Trump at least has a hair of plausible deniability with his other absurd claims, while those might not be debunked right out in the open in black and white, this one is. And not that he had any credibility before, but it's proof that if he'll try to rewrite history on something that we all saw with our own eyes, what does it say about all the other insane ideas he's peddled over the years to his supporters? What does it say about his claims that millions voted illegally in the general election, that wind turbines cause cancer, that Democrats are fighting to take away coverage for pre-existing conditions, that the Mueller report completely and totally exonerated him, that America is getting rich from the trade war with China? His supporters need to realize that if Trump is willing to lie about something that even a barely functioning human could see right through, then he's obviously not trustworthy with anything else. Think of it like this. If a surgeon tells you that the operation went fine and his patient is dead on the operating table, it's probably time to think back on every other instance that he said the operation went well. And look, while him not being able to admit he was wrong about the path of a hurricane is mostly pathetic and sad, it could have life or death implications the next time. What if he declares war on the wrong country in a speech, is too proud to correct himself, and ends up dropping a bomb there? What if he mistakenly accuses a Democrat of some made-up crime and a lunatic with a gun shows up to avenge him? Trump's words have had deadly implications before, and the fact that he hasn't yet realized that is cause for serious alarm in and of itself. So while it's nice that Shep Smith continues to be one of the lone holdouts at Fox News, the rest of the network should think long and hard about whether it wants to continue debasing itself on an hourly basis by running cover for someone who cannot manage to get out of his own way.